Hello, I'm Mitari. I decided I wanted to try out long-form videos. So, for my first one, I thought I'd share my personal digital art process. It's important to note that this is not a tutorial, and I am far from having the perfect method. This is just what's working for me at the moment, and as it's evolved before, it will probably continue to change in the future. Also, this is my first time with larger video editing, like more than just Reels or TikToks. Also my first time ever recording a voiceover, so as always, I appreciate feedback, just please be kind and constructive. Okay, let's get into it. For this video, I'm going to use an art piece that I did for a collab. I'll share the host's name on screen. Please check them out. They were very kind and have amazing art. This was an anime collab for their birthday, and I decided to draw Mitsuha and Taki from Your Name. The first thing I do with any artwork is gather my references. I'm using Milanote for this, but sometimes I'll just leave them in the Photos app on my iPad, or I'll use Pinterest or something like Google Slides. Then I start playing around with the composition. I followed a reference pretty closely for this piece, so not much was needed for creativity in the composition. After the super rough placement of the characters, I create a new layer on top and lower the opacity of the rough sketch. On this layer, I start sketching in more detail. I keep things pretty loose and refine as I go. I personally hate doing line art, so I almost always use my sketch as the line art. I just use the eraser to clean it up a bit, but I do generally like it pretty loose and messy. Sketch line art step is done. On a new layer below the line art, I fill in the character or characters with a neutral color. I do this using a combination of the lasso tool for big areas and then the brush for edges. This creates a base that's much easier to color and render because we can clip things to it and not worry about going outside the lines. Then I clip layers to this base to add sections of color. This differs depending on the piece, but usually I separate it into 3 to 4 sections. The hair is one, accessories is another, and then I have a couple for clothes depending on how many colors there are. For this piece, I just use 2 layers for the clothes, one for the white and one for the black. I usually color and render the skin on the base layer that's underneath everything. To fill these areas in, I do the same thing as the base. I use the lasso tool first to get most of it filled in, then go in with the brush to clean up the edges. Because this layer is clipped to the base, I like to make a wide area with the lasso tool that goes far off the character where I want to color. Here's what my piece looks like so far. Before I render, I usually draw the background here. If I have a clear idea, I'll do the whole thing, but if not, I at least get the general colors and lighting in place. This really speeds up the rendering process for me because I can already make the characters feel like they are within the environment. The next thing I do is start adding shadows. I pick colors that are close to the base color they are sitting on, but darker and with the hue or color leaning slightly toward the ambient colors. In this piece, I made the shadows lean cooler because of the dark blue and purple sky. After that, I add light areas. This I pick the same way as shadows, but going lighter and the hue shifted toward the color of the light. In this piece, it's a warm orangey yellow, so I lean that way for the light that hits the characters directly. I usually do more shading for more depth, but I wanted this piece to feel more traditionally anime-like with more inspiration taken from cell shading. So most of my shadow and light edges are hard with minimal blending. If I'm going for a more realistic style, I will usually do more layers of shadow and light and use more blending where appropriate. Lastly, I add finishing touches like rendering the eyes and adding stronger highlights in places I want to bring out. I also create a layer on top set to add or hard light. Using an airbrush with the color of the main light source, I add a subtle glow to focal points like the face or if I'm adding rim lighting. Here's the piece before finishing touches, and here it is after. Thank you for staying until the end. It means so much to me. I hope you enjoyed seeing my art process and maybe learned something new. Please consider liking or commenting on this videos and subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future. Bye!